was only 47. He seemed to be in good health, apart from, the hardships that he eventually had to endure physically inside the penal colony in the most remote Arctic that he was recently transferred to. But the fact is, we'll probably never really know.
Let's just dive back to that piece of international news which broke this morning, the death of Alexei Navalny, the high-profile critic of Vladimir Putin and of the Kremlin. He has reportedly died in prison aged 47, and in the last few minutes, the Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron has been giving his reaction.
My heart goes out to his wife and to his family. And we should be clear about what has happened here. Putin's Russia imprisoned him, trumped up charges against him, poisoned him, sent him to an Arctic penal colony, and now he's tragically died. And we should hold Putin accountable for this, and no one should be in any doubt about the dreadful nature of Putin's regime in Russia after what has just happened.
Will there be consequences for Russia now?
Well, there should be consequences, because there's no doubt in my mind this man was a brave fighter against corruption, for justice, for democracy, and look what Putin's Russia did to him. They trumped up charges, they imprisoned him, they poisoned him, they sent him to an Arctic penal colony, and he's died. And that is because of the action that Putin's Russia took. No one can look at this regime now and not recognize it for the truly dreadful nature that it has.
Lord Cameron there. Meanwhile, the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, paid tribute to Navalny's impossible courage, and his frontbench colleague David Lammy has described Navalny as another victim of Putin's system. The Lib Dems say more sanctions now. And the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, is at the Munich Security Conference, and she has spoken in the last few minutes.
We've all just received reports that Alexei Navalny has died in Russia. This is, of course, terrible news, which we are working to confirm. My prayers are with his family, including his wife, Yulia, who is with us today. And if confirmed, this would be a further sign of Putin's brutality. Whatever story they tell, let us be clear, Russia is responsible. And we will have more to say on this later.
Kamala Harris, we will, of course, keep you up with any other responses to the death of Navalny. Because of the major news item which has been happening today, and because of your lifelong work in this area, what do you make, how do you respond to the news of Navalny's death? Because we've seen there the way that Russia deals with people who discover information about the state and dispute it. Does this fill you with even more depression about how the world's states are going?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I have been highlighting is the fact that people die in prison, and that Navalny's death is absolutely devastating. There's no question that he was a political prisoner in Russia. He was, of course, not just an opposition figure politically, but he was also involved in revealing corruption of the Russian elites. And if he wasn't in prison today, he was only 47. He seemed to be in good health, apart from, the hardships that he eventually had to endure physically inside the penal colony in the most remote Arctic that he was recently transferred to. But the fact is, we'll probably never really know. Yes. And it's absolutely devastating for his family. I really feel for his wife and his two children.
We have just learned, as Mr. Chancellor has just said, that Alexei Navalny has died in a Russian prison. Obviously, he was killed by Putin, like thousands of others who have been tormented, tortured, because of this one person. Putin doesn't care who dies, as long as he retains his position. And that is why he must not keep anything. Putin must lose everything. He must not retain anything and must be held accountable for what he has done.
We've heard the reports from Russia of Alexei Navalny's death in prison. For more than a decade, the Russian government, Putin, have persecuted, poisoned, and imprisoned Alexei Navalny. And now, the reports of his death. First and foremost, if these reports are accurate, our hearts go out to his wife and to his family. Beyond that, his death in a Russian prison and the fixation and fear of one man only underscores the weakness and rot at the heart of the system that Putin has built. Russia's responsible for this. We'll be talking to the many other countries concerned about Alexei Navalny, especially if these reports bear out to be true.
Thank you. Well, let me just add my words of welcome to the Secretary. Important today that the very complicated issues there be addressed.
Good afternoon. I am deeply saddened and concerned about the reports coming from Russia that Alexei Navalny is dead. All the facts has to be established, and Russia has serious questions to answer. Alexei Navalny has been a strong voice for freedom, for democracy for many years, and NATO and NATO allies have called for his immediate release for a long time. And today my thoughts go to his family and his loved ones, and we remain committed to support everyone that believes in democracy and freedom, as Alexei Navalny has done for so many years. Sorry, I can do.
Causes of the death of Navalny?
We don't have any information now. That's the reason why it is important to have all facts established, and why Russia has some very serious questions to answer. What we have seen is that Russia has become a more and more authoritarian power, that they have used oppression against opposition for many years. And of course, he was in jail, he was a prisoner, and that makes it extremely important that Russia now answer all the questions that will be asked about the cause of the death.
But do you believe that? Like, what is your first reaction?
Well, that would be a horrible thing. I would track his condition constantly, but I haven't heard that. I hope that that is not true. It would be a horrible thing. Starvation, lack of care in the prison conditions, is that what he died from, or do you think it was an affirmative act? I think we have to find out more, but in any case, it's a horrible tragedy if it is so. But his imprisonment is a horrible tragedy, period. Thank you.